Hi there. I wanted to show you a few things I've done to my house. I found out about climate change in about 2008, and when I bought this house, I decided to do as much as I could with whatever spare money or even borrow money to do some work on it. Anyway, I'll show you some of the details. This is scaffolding that's just gone up because the bay window of the house is an area where heat leaks out because there is no cavity wall insulation in there, which is the first thing I had done. I had the whole house injected, but I couldn't do that because apparently it pops the tiles off. So there's a guy coming around to take those all off and insulate underneath it. I did have problems with the cavity wall. I'll discuss that later maybe, but it wasn't, the survey wasn't done properly, and what happened on the south-facing wall, you can see here the big wall that goes out 3 stories because there's a room in the roof. Basically there was rubble in the bottom of it up to about 500 or 600 millimeters, and that was allowing water through, so I had to call on the warranty, the government warranty, and sort that out. I'll talk about that when I talk about the living room floor. I'll just go around the back. I think this is the kitchen extension at the back of the house. Was the coldest room in the house, and we've had it completely refurbished, and it's been insulated on the outside, and the floor and the new roof have both been insulated. Previously the floor was a concrete floor with lino on or something. It was just horrible. So that's been done. I'll just pause it. And this is the rear. So you can see at the top there, that's the room, the dormer. So we haven't done anything with that because it's probably quite an expensive job. It was done in the 90s, I think, again, and the drawings show that it had some insulation in. So that's for the future maybe, but it won't be a cheap job, I don't think. Right, we've got solar panels. Originally we had solar panels on the top of this flat roof and this garage roof, which is asbestos sheet, and neither of them were particularly suitable places, but this roof in particular was going to fail at some stage, and I'd been repairing it. So I'll show you the building that we decided to build in the garden to house the solar panels. This is a 6x4 building built on a concrete plinth which was made obviously the normal way, but we used recycled aggregate, and it's been submitted to planning department. They approved it. It's got a 25-degree slope facing south, so that's basically doing the job, and the 4 kilowatt system's on the top of that. It's doing its job properly. It has been for a few years now, and I'm glad I did it. It was a lot of hassle, but buying a house without south-facing roof did present me with a bit of a problem. Right, okay, I'll just pause that. This is the back of it, which is showing the rest of, or the last of the garden, of the greenhouse. And there's some water butts. There's 2 water butts on the greenhouse. There's one of my recycled wood stores. The compost bins, which are also from recycled wood, and this old shed's got a water butt on as well. So, and that's supposed to be well, another place to grow things on. There you go. So that's us. While I was on wood stores, I thought I'd show you that's another one. And then I've just had to build a new one, and there's another one. So This is wood I've scavenged, basically. I've never paid for it, and it's usually 3 years old by the time I use it in the wood burner. So I think I must have an eye for finding bits of wood. This is the wood burner that I put in. Actually, it was the first job I think I did when I moved into the house. I couldn't bear the previous gas fire with its horrible surround. So that's a fairly efficient. It's 80% efficient, I think. I did install it myself without a liner, but it's a fair bit of work, and I'm not sure I'd advise doing it to anyone else. For anyone else. So yeah, in the evenings we sit here, and it's very cosy, and it does mean that the radiators down here anyway usually turn themselves off if we leave the central heating on, and that saves the money on the gas bill. So it's a sort of an exchange, really, wood for gas, and obviously the radiators in the rest of the house are turned down to a minimum, because there's no point in heating rooms you're not using. The other thing I did in the living room, which is a sort of 2 rooms knocked through together, was insulate the floor. I'll just briefly show you what I did. Because of the Sega warranty, every 5th board was taken up, because eventually they sprayed something there to stop the mould and the insect attack, and actually replace some of these floorboards as well, which I luckily had the opportunity to completely sand and reseal. But this is what I did underneath. Because it was impossible to put Celotex underneath, I stapled a tray of that silver bubble wrap you can get, which is in itself an insulator, all the way along between each joist, and then filled it with a rock wool. So that made a hell of a difference when I came down in the morning after I'd done that, when normally, well, you'd expect a room to be reasonably warm. It was fairly chilly, but this made a difference to the heat loss overnight, so I'm glad I did it. Lastly, I suppose looking at the future, the next thing I got planned is to get rid of this 16-year-old boiler, get rid of my gas supply, and put an air source heat pump in, which will take some, it will take a considerable sum of money. I just wanted to talk quickly about the air source heat pump, which is the next project. It's been costed. I've had about 3 quotes, and it seems to be coming in around 11,500 to 12,500, plus any radiators I need to change at about £250 each, and there's no VAT on anything at the moment, which is great. And I get £5,000 back from the government, so it's becoming a less expensive project, but still much more than putting a new gas boiler in, because my old gas boiler is 16 years old and inevitably will pack up at some stage. So I should have put in underfloor heating when I had the extension renovated, and had the CSE been doing the future-proof surveys, I would have benefited from that earlier on, I think. I'm fairly committed to the path I'm on at the moment. I know I could do more insulation to the bits of the house, and that's why I did the bay, really, because it's a sort of weak spot there. So I'm hoping that the other additional bonus of having an air source heat pump is because I'll have a hot tank, and I'll be able to link that to a diverter from the solar power, and when I'm not using that, I will have I'll have the advantage of topping up the heat in the hot tank, which should save me some money. I'm not under any illusions that this is going to be much cheaper or any cheaper than the bill I'm paying at the moment, which before all the prices went up was about on a direct debit of about £45 a month. I'm realistic about my chances of keeping the bill low. However, it will get rid of the gas, which is obviously a good thing to do, and I'll lose the standing charge of that, which is an additional bonus. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, it will all go well and it will be brilliant. Cheers.